So last week, we started a conversation about what is the real source of innovation in the self-storage industry today. And it isn't R&D facilities. It's the mindset and the thinking of the self-storage business owners. That's the source of real innovation today. All of the shiny objects are products and byproducts of the thinking that we as self-storage owners apply to our business. So we talked about the first two mindsets or ways of thinking that I think, based on my observation of other industries and other business owners, that would make a difference for you in my business, in the self-storage business. And let's complete that conversation today. A new approach to innovation in the self-storage industry. My name's Mark Helm, and I'm the author of Creating Wealth Through Self-Storage, and I'm the creator of the Quick Start Academy. And what I do is I support the small investor who wants to get in the self-storage business or who wants to grow their self-storage business, strategically do so in a way that creates true wealth and a fulfilling career. And the next product that the Quick Start Academy is going to be putting out, I do 2 live self-storage boot camps a year. I've been doing them virtually, but we're going to have an on-demand self-storage boot camp that you can purchase and go through the exact same process we do in a live environment, but you can do it on your own with all the same resources and tools that we use. Be looking for that coming out in the second quarter of 2021. So last week we introduced 2 ideas, 2 ways of thinking, 2 ways of being that I think as self-storage owners would really impact our ability to become innovative in our business operations today. Given where we are, and this is 2021, at least when I'm filming this, the world is changing. All industries seem to be changing at a rapid rate to deal with the reality that we find ourselves in the world today. If you didn't watch last week's episode, watch it. And the first 2 ideas or mindsets we introduced were new voices. Listen to new voices, get new perspective, and ask new and different questions. And we went into some detail and gave examples specifically, some of the ways we're applying that in our self-storage business today. But today I want to move on and I want to talk about what I have seen. The last 2 I want to talk about, what I've seen business owners that have really impacted their industries, real innovative companies, Steve Jobs and Apple, Elon Musk and SpaceX, Tesla. I mean, ways of thinking and habits that these owners have that not only revolutionize their company and business, but industries themselves. Innovation used to be something that I related to like, other people will create the innovations and then I'll decide whether to implement them or not based on my rate of return on my investment. That's no longer it's no longer a luxury of thinking that way that we can afford as business owners, especially in the self-storage industry. We're applying innovation and reinventing ourselves to every level of our business, from how we form our partnerships all the way down to what's on the doors of our storage facility. So my goal is to not only discuss these mindsets, these ways of thinking, but give you access points to begin to be able to use them, give you levers, dials that you can grab hold of that will allow you to begin using these. So again, last week we talked about hearing new voices, getting new perspectives, and we talked about asking new and different questions. And we were specific about each one. and how we're using it in our business. But today I want to talk about another concept, another way of thinking, another mindset I've seen these guys have. And the first one is what I'm going to call less is more. Now, I know that might even sound contradictory or counterintuitive. It's definitely counterintuitive, especially when we're talking about reinventing every aspect of our business. But what I've noticed is the people that I really respect and really admire, less is more. Their approach to innovation is that they focus on fewer things, but what they focus on really moves the dial. So there seems to be a natural law, and I don't know what you would call this law, but when you start a business, pretty soon, the running of that business, just the day-to-day operations, the stuff you've got to do to keep that enterprise going or that facility going, the natural law says that will quickly, exponentially expand to cover the entire day plus a few more hours. Very quickly, you will be spending the majority of your time, energy, and resources doing nothing but managing the stuff of running your business. I call that the morass. It's like quicksand. The operations, the running of your business quickly expands to cover your bandwidth plus a little bit more. And the time needed to really do the strategic thinking, the creative thinking, the getting new perspectives, the asking new questions, there's just no time for that because you've got to run the business. Without that, your business dies. So that's the morass. Doesn't take long for the morass to develop, and it'll suck your time, energy, and resources. Then, when you do have that weekend retreat, or you do come up with that new, you come back from the conference and you've got that new, innovative ideas that are going to make all the difference in the world in your business, what happens? They quickly get sucked into the morass and disappear. More people, more phone calls, more meetings. Those innovative ideas just get sucked in and disappear. The innovative ideas, mostly gone. Where'd they go? They disappeared into the morass. I've come back from conferences fired up, ready to do value pricing. We unrolled tenant insurance, touchless move-ins, and we got to start tracking customer behavior so we can adjust prices based on customer behavior, not just on unit sizes. We even get buy-in from everybody. And then what happens? All that gets sucked into the morass. Maybe we're selling some tenant insurance. Some facilities are doing value pricing, some aren't. Some managers are good, some aren't. It just all kind of disappears in that whirlwind, that quicksand. Doesn't matter how good the ideas are, doesn't even matter how much buy-in you have from all your team members, your partners, and your employees. All those great innovations can quickly, not always, but most of the time, quickly disappear into that morass. So in my humble opinion, you can't fight the morass. The morass is there. That's just part of the reality of living in the world today and running a business. We're not going to change it. Don't put your energy on the morass. Don't put your energy on that. Where I'm saying, what I've seen innovative people that I really respect, they put their energy on one, maybe two innovations that will make the difference. Less is more. Look at Apple. Go to an Apple store. Look at the Apple products. What do you have? You've got computers. Actually, not that many. You've got a couple different laptop sizes and a couple different desktop sizes. You've got phones. Not that many. You got an iPhone. You've got iPads. And you have watches. Now, for the most part, that's the extent of their physical products. Literally, every product Apple makes, you could put on a dinner table. But yet they're one of the most successful companies in the world. Yeah, there's more stuff to buy there because there's a lot of other businesses that started making a lot of products that support the few items that Apple makes. But Apple focuses, they're masters. Jobs was phenomenal at that and created that as part of their culture. They turn down fantastic ideas all the time. And they focus on one thing. And they usually roll out one thing at a time. And they spend years and billions of dollars on one thing. And they dominate most of the industries they're in. Less is more. So the real skill set of a business owner is, what is the one thing or the one or two things in this part of our business that we can put a lot of attention, resources, and money on that will make the most difference? And that's counterintuitive for us as business owners. Many of us, our success has been based on how productive we are and how much we can do and what all gets accomplished in a 24-hour day period. So the idea of scaling back and putting all of your resources on one thing at a time is counterintuitive. But in the world of innovation, I suggest less is more. So the real skill set, the real art, is to know what is the one thing at a time you're going to be rolling out in your business or in your operations or in your getting in the self-storage business or in your capital raising business. If you put enough energy and resources and buy-in behind one thing, the odds of that getting sucked into the morass are exponentially less. And soon that will become part of the culture, that innovation, and then that will become part of that swirling morass. And then you can put your attention on the next thing that will move the dial the most. At least that's what I've seen with the people that I admire and would want to emulate in the business world. Less is more. And then the final thing I've noticed that they do is that they can create a compelling future around their innovations that they're putting their time, energy, and resources in. They're able to create a future and articulate a vision that excites and has stakeholders want to invest and be part of that. I mean, think of what Elon Musk is doing with SpaceX. In many ways, he created that private space industry. I mean, he didn't, but look at what he did with electric cars. He didn't invent electric cars, but he defined that industry. And now people are racing to be in that business. He created a vision called Colonize Mars and almost started an entire industry around providing reusable rockets to go into space with the ultimate goal of taking our species to another planet. Now, you talk about the ability to enroll and create a vision for the future and then excite people and to play in that game. He's a master at it. And that requires a real skill set. I've written about this skill set business owners need in episode 236 called Leaders Inspire. If you're so inclined, I go into a lot of detail on what I think specifically that skill set requires. But for this conversation, what I've noticed is in the world of innovation, once you come up with what the idea, the one or two things that are going to move the needle the most, that as an enterprise you're going to put your time, energy, and resources in, the ability to communicate that and create a vision that you keep, not only you keep alive and your partners keep alive, but all the people it touches in your enterprise can keep that alive. That is what makes the difference of whether the innovation that you're unrolling will be successful or not within your company. At least that's what I see with the companies I respect and admire. In the past, I've come up with, we're going to implement value pricing. I get my partners excited in a meeting, tell them what's involved, here are the resources, turn it over to them, and then I sit back and wait to see what the results are. And then I move on to the next thing, assuming that it's handled. And it isn't. It gets sucked into the morass, it disappears, it's gone, and then at the end of the month I'll wonder where we are, I'll look, I won't see any results, and I'll think, why don't people follow up on what they're supposed to do? It's never their fault. It's always our fault. If it's someone else's fault, you have no power. Yeah, you can fire them, put somebody else in, but that won't work. Same thing will happen. If you can take 100% responsibility for the innovations as a business owner you're unrolling, then you have power. Why? Because you can affect it, because you can affect what you do and how you think, not what they're doing. So I assume 100% responsibility for it. I didn't create a vision, and I didn't create a way of keeping that vision alive on a day-to-day basis. So here's what I didn't do. I didn't keep it alive. I create an innovation. I create the one thing that's going to make the difference, and I've got to keep it alive where I'm at. It's got to be a compelling future for me that I'm present to every day. So I got to have structures in place to keep it alive. And I've got to have structures in place to constantly communicate it in all levels of the enterprise in many, many different ways. And then I didn't put structures in place to keep that vision alive for the team members. And finally, I didn't create a scoreboard or a game to play and a way to keep score that would have everybody at all levels of the organization that were responsible for the implementation. I didn't create a game and a scoreboard to score them so they can play. And by the way, I've discovered if you want to move the needle and you have people at the facility level that are responsible for implementing an innovation, bonus them based on what you're trying to impact. Create a game and create a score, and usually the points are tied to bonuses. Good leaders, visionary, innovative leaders have the ability to inspire others to live into a future that they've created and are able to enroll their stakeholders into. Now, I'm ultimately amazed at how, at every level of a company, people really want to contribute. Now, most employees never really have the experience of making a difference and making a contribution to a company and even to an industry. But that's not their fault. That's not because they're lazy. Most people, at least that work with us, love to contribute, and I'm amazed at the level of ownership in a company, an enterprise that they will take. But if an employee is having the experience of not making a contribution to the company, it's not their fault, it's the owner's fault. At least that's my opinion on it. And it starts with this ability for the owner to create a vision and then enroll and excite people at all levels of the organization to live into that. So in the storage industry today, 2021 and beyond, it's really going to take something as a business owner that we're going to have to be innovative in our thinking and what we do and what we focus on, not only for today, but into the future to stay relevant in our industry. And innovation doesn't stand a chance if it doesn't exist as a way of thinking in the minds of the business owner. So I hope this has stimulated your thinking and how you may approach running your business in 2021 and beyond. Thanks for listening, and I value any ideas and input you may have. And feel free to leave comments and reach out to each other and to me with your thoughts and ideas on this. I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you very much. My name's Mark Helm. I'm the author of Creating Wealth Through Self-Storage. And I look forward to connecting with you next week.